Agriculture in South Africa contributes around 10% of formal employment, relatively low compared to other parts of Africa, as well as providing work for casual laborers and contributing around 2.6% of GDP for the nation. Due to the aridity of the land, only 13.5% can be used for crop production, and only 3% is considered high potential land. According to FAOSTAT, South Africa is one of the world's largest producers of chicory roots, grapefruit, cereals, green maize and maize, castor oilseed, pears, sisal, fibre crops. The dairy industry consists of around 4,300 milk producers providing employment for 60,000 farm workers and contributing to the livelihoods of around 40,000 others. The South African government has set a target of transferring 30% of productive farmland from whites to previously disadvantaged blacks by 2014. Land reform has been criticised both by farmers' groups and by landless workers, the latter alleging that the pace of change has not been fast enough, and the former alleging racist treatment and expressing concerns that a similar situation to Zimbabwe's land reform policy may develop, a fear exacerbated by comments made by former Deputy President Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka. The government has been accused of either putting in too much effort or not enough effort to tackle the problem of farm attacks as opposed to other forms of violent crime. Some predictions show surface water supply could decrease by 60% by the year 2070 in parts of the Western Cape. To reverse the damage caused by land mismanagement, the government has supported a scheme which promotes sustainable development and the use of natural resources. Maize production, which contributes to a 36% majority of the gross value of South Africa's field crops, has also experienced negative effects due to climate change. The estimated value of loss, which takes into consideration scenarios with and without the carbon dioxide fertilization effect, ranges between tens and hundreds of millions of rands. There is evidence that slash-and-burn agriculture was first brought to South Africa by the Bantu expansion by about the 4th century AD. The earliest written record of farming life in South Africa starts slightly after 1500. Grains and cereals are South Africa's most important crops, occupying more than 60% of hectare under cultivation in the 1990s. Maize, the country's most important crop, is a dietary staple, a source of livestock feed, and an export crop. Government programs, including generous loans and extension services, have been crucial to the country's self-sufficiency in this enterprise. Maize is grown commercially on large farms and on more than 12,000 small farms, primarily in Northwest, Mpumalanga, Free State, and KwaZulu-Natal provinces. Maize production generates at least 150,000 jobs in years with good rainfall and uses almost one-half of the inputs of the modern agricultural sector. Maize production exceeds 10 million tons in good years. Owing to regional drought in the early 1990s, however, production fell to just over 3 million tons in 1992, and roughly 5 million tons of maize were imported, at a cost of at least $700 million. Both domestic and imported maize was shipped to neighboring countries to help ease the regional impacts of the drought. The drought eased in 1993, and officials estimated the 1994 harvest at approximately 12 million tons. Below average rainfall in late 1994 again threatened to reduce maize output in 1995. And officials expected to import some 600,000 tons of maize in that year. Plentiful rain in late 1995 provided for a bumper crop in 1996. Wheat production, which is concentrated in large, highly mechanized farms, also increased after World War II. Wheat cultivation spread from the Western Cape, where rainfall is fairly reliable, to the Orange Free State and the Eastern Transvaal, primarily in response to rising consumer demand. But wheat harvest volumes vary widely. For example, Roughly 2.1 million tons were produced in 1991, and only 1.3 million tons in 1992. Production in the early 1990s failed to meet local demand for about 2.2 million tons per year. Wheat imports in 1992, for example, cost more than $5 million,